Yo, we're back again. This is King Bear Sadat, and we are the old heads. Welcome to another great day, another great show. And we're gonna sit here and talk about what's going on in the world today. Several different subject matters. I have with me my guest, Mac Attack. Welcome.
Same here. Thank you.
Word. So yeah, we're just gonna talk a little stuff about what's going on right now. The NBA conference finals is going on right now. What is it? 3-3 between Cleveland and the Celtics, and LeBron pulling magic acts and trying to add more to that discussion between who's better, him or Jordan. What have you seen in the playoffs? What have you enjoyed about it? What do you think? Who's going to win? Like, just give me some of your thoughts on what you've seen in that Boston-Cleveland series.
Okay, well, the Boston-Cleveland series is a good series. Boston is a great basketball team, but the King is on his throne now. He's ready. Game 7 look like I'm gonna go with the King.
You're going to go with LeBron?
Yes, sir.
You know, it's been amazing to see that Boston's done well, even with Kyrie Irving hurt. You know what I'm saying? You would think that, you know, maybe they might not have been able to pull out some of those games and get to this point. It's amazing to see how they do have a young team, but even without Kyrie Irving, they're still balling well. Now, that game goes back. Game 7's in Boston.
Right.
You think that, when is that game? Sunday or Saturday?
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
All
right. So you believe that it's going to be, again, you think he's going to the finals, LeBron's going back to the finals again?
Yeah, even though Boston has a blemish on their loss record at home, you know, they haven't lost a game. But I think LeBron's going to bust that bubble.
They haven't lost a game all year at home?
Well, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs. I was going to say, man, that's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
So who else is doing it on? Unfortunately, I haven't watched much of the finals, and which is a shame. But I'm going to speak to it just straight up. When Time Warner pulled that, you have to have a box in your house thing. I haven't dealt with the whole box thing, and I've been one of those people who unplugged. But now I'm still getting finding that I'm missing some of my sports. I don't spend as much time, you know, at the sports bars as much as I used to. So I got to figure out that whole cable thing so I can sit there and watch these finals, because I know it's going to be epic. Right now, down in you got the battle between Houston and Golden State. That's 3-2 Houston, right?
That's 3-2 Houston, and they're going back to Golden State for the sixth game, and that's a good series too. But I like Houston in that series. You know, I'm a Chris Paul fan, so I would like Chris Paul to finally get a ring.
Now, Chris Paul's hurt, though, right?
Yes, he is.
Is he out for Game 6?
He's out for Game 6. I don't know what he holds for Game 7, if there is one. You know, Houston might get him in Game 6. Who knows, you know? Man. Without Chris Paul.
Right. Now, Iguodala, is he back? Is Iguodala playing?
I think he's out, too. And that hurts Golden State on the defense side, you know.
Yeah.
He's a great defensive player.
I was listening to somebody talk about how, you know, one of the problems that's going on is that the Golden State, really the whole thing that Golden State's built on is the sharing the ball thing instead of doing the ISO stuff. But now lately with Iguodala out, that Kevin Durant has been doing a lot more ISO, to the point where isolation, trying to get the ball and isolating and him having the ball by himself and sort of creating the play, but that Iguodala was really good at setting up Steph Curry, and that's how Steph was flourishing. It's just they're sort of like beating themselves by playing this ISO game instead of playing that share the ball. Because right now, I was listening to some people talk about how right now what they're doing is playing more like OK State was playing back when he was there with what's my man's name?
Russell Westbrook.
They're playing right now. Golden State is playing more like OKC was playing back when he was there, and they need to get back to that sharing the ball and moving it around kind of thing.
Right. Well, I think that's what works for them is move the ball around. You know, they're pretty good ISO too, though, in a way, because there's some one-on-one players. You know, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. You know, they can beat you one-on-one.
Right.
You know, so actually they can play both styles. But they've been winning with just passing the ball.
Right. And they've been getting away from that after Iguodala got hurt, as I was saying.
Right.
You know, just talking about sort of this new generation of player. You know, I've always looked at the fact that, you know, we kind of grew up in the perfect time. And even though, struggles is a struggle and it's difficult, like, you know, Your father, my grandmother, they all grew up in South Carolina.
Exactly.
Back in the Jim Crow South, and they've been through the 60s and through hell. And we benefited a little bit from some progression, which I thought was a lot better in society today than it actually is. There's been some coming to Jesus moments, if you will, with regard to how the country reacted to Obama and yada yada. But I'm talking about us growing up in the best times. We got to see the best basketball.
Right.
We got to see some of the best boxing. We got to see some of the best football. So just like one of the debates is always talking about, is Golden State Warriors the all-time best team of all time? And you start talking about whether you're talking about Jordan and the Bulls, you're talking about teams like, I always think that one of the best teams of all time, in my opinion, is the Sixers with all them, Doc, Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, what's his name, Mo Cheeks, all them boys.
That's a subject that you could carry on because there's so many good teams that was great. Philadelphia was one. Boston was good. Boston, come on, they got all the championships.
They got 20-something. They got a gang of championships.
Right.
I think they won like 8 in a row one time or something like that, man. They got a lot of championships.
So the upcoming teams nowadays is your Golden State Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Philadelphia 76ers is up and coming,
Yeah, what's the name? What's the rookie who's hurt?
Simmons.
Yeah, from LSU.
Yeah, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, once he know how to shoot, they're gonna be all right.
Right.
He can't right now. He's shooting about 20% from the field.
Yeah, once he gets a jump shot, he's gonna be really tough.
He needs to get some of that Kobe in him and turn into a gym rat. Put that work in.
That's right.
But no, I'm just saying, the cats were talking about the old school teams compared to these teams. They're just looking at a team like, if you go player for player, okay? So, if you look at the fact that Steph Curry is, the number one player on the team, let's say, maybe, and then you still have Steph Curry, you have, man, I hate when I get names
okay, you got Kevin Durant. You got that Klay Thompson.
Yeah. Then you got Draymond, and then you got the fifth best. You got Iguodala as the fifth best player on the team.
Right.
When you're talking about teams like the Jordan's Bulls, when you're the fifth best player was Paxson. Just wondering how people. But man, those guys played. But the one thing that they did say that I thought was dope is like, if you're gonna play those old school teams, you got to play old school rules. You're going to be in the paint, bumping and grinding, and how you going to deal with that?
They play very physical in the old school days compared to right now. The referees is calling touchy fouls. They wouldn't get away with that in the old days. But I have to say this, though. I have to say this. The old school teams will beat the teams nowadays because they play defense like no other. These boys don't play no defense. They don't play none whatsoever.
Man, it was hard, man. You think about them games between, the Pistons and the Bulls, and you start thinking about the Knicks and Oakley and them, man, in the paint. Whoa! Them boys used to be balling.
See what I mean by that? Very physical basketball.
Yeah, I'm just tripping on, generations, it's funny how young people have no idea. Like, even in our days, we didn't get to see Wilt play. But we knew who Wilt was. Maybe you did get to see. You're a little older than me.
Right.
Maybe you did get to see.
I knows how I looked at you like. We had the Buffalo Braves,
right.
And they all came to town. I got a chance to see a lot of great basketball players.
So who's some of the cats you saw like all-time greats? Like,
okay, I saw Wilt Chamberlain. I seen Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh.
I seen George Gervin, the Iceman. Rick Barry. I used to go to all the games.
Did you ever see Elgin Baylor play?
I didn't see Elgin because that was just a touch before me.
Man.
He had retired before I really started going to the games. But that was great.
See Oscar Robertson play? Is that still before?
That was just a touch before too. But Kareem Jabbar was still with Milwaukee when I seen him.
You saw him play here?
Yes, sir.
With the Bucks, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I remember they used to have what's his name, Bob Lanier's shoe. I went to Bennett High School, and Bob Lanier went to Bennett, then went to St. Bonaventure. He used to have this gigantic size, 190. It's probably really like a size 30 or something like that, or 25 or something crazy. But he used to have this big shoe in the thing, in little trophy case down there. But I remember going to Odd Man. I saw a couple Braves games, one or two.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when Bob McAdoo had left us. I don't know if he was playing for the Knicks or if who he was playing for at the
He
time.
went to several teams.
So I think he was playing for the
When
Knicks.
he
And
left
he said,
here, he went to New York.
yeah, so he said, I remember him, I was a little kid, and I remember him saying, if I lose to the Buffalo Braves, I'm walking back to New York. And I remember being like, I had to be like 5 years old. I was like, is he really going to walk back?
He was confident they was going to win, huh?
Man.
Wow.
But yeah, this is the old heads. I'm sitting here with my man Mac Attack. Thank you for coming out. We're going to keep talking.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to keep the conversation going. We'll be back in a moment. All right, y'all, in a minute.